Alright, what's up guys? This is Tom Burkhardt from car-revs Daily. Video number 2 in the 2016 Nissan MAXIMA SR. Nice launch there. You feel this Xtronic really has nice upshifts at the end of its rev range. Much like a DSG that they really want this new transmission compared with. CVTs, of course, are very efficient, very light, and really chill around town and in the city. I mean, they're just so relaxed and effortless. It feels like you're just gliding, and you barely have to nudge the engine at all. So that's a general CVT merit, and it applies to the Maxima as well. Even though this car has a really hunkered down stance and heavy, firm steering, firm inputs there. Even with all that stuff, the base CVT or the general CVT merits definitely apply. So Nissan wants this transmission compared with the way DSGs behave on the road, and they've done a really credible job of delivering power to the ground. First off, 300 horsepower from this Maxima standard V6 engine. So they've done a really good job of getting the power down versus having it artificially restricted in lower gears. Like some people might have done, but they've obviously strengthened the Xtronic enough to make it be able to handle the power. So that's the first really good thing. The second thing is its sort of direct drive nature, which we touched on. It feels really nice in modes like this where we have steering paddle controls and can pop it over into like full manual lock and really just have like an awesome sense of the engine and the chassis, what everything is doing. It lets your brain's integrated dynamics module work as hard as the Nissan's. So that IDM thing that we mentioned is like that sort of GTR super brain that comes into this engine into the new Maxima SR to let it really be playful and sportier than it has been in years. So those are all really good things. But one place where like I'm not loving the CVT is like somewhere where I never would have expected, and that is like in sort of just general parking maneuvers. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this, because obviously the Maxima is really smooth around town, never gets a gear wrong, is never wrong-footed in its whether you want to just be like chilling or put down max power. I mean, you can do it at the dab of the throttle. So that all is like really good. But sometimes the CVT has some curious traits, like pulling away from a stop sometimes when the car is cold, or putting it in drive from neutral. Like there's just certain scenarios where the car feels like loosey-goosey. It feels sort of, I really want to demonstrate it, but there's this traffic right here. There's like a little bit of rollback is what I'm saying, as well as just sort of like a graunchy kind of a little bit of like a low quality feel as the car goes into drive and park and reverse and back and forth. And that's really surprising because it's just like a really unusual thing to notice these days. With standard automatics, you never really notice that type of thing, but it is notable here, just basically because of how good the CVT is at all other things. I mean, previous generations of the continuously variable transmission, you would have just been complaining about how it like doesn't upshift, or I would have been rather. But for this new one, like it does do everything really well, except I think it needs what do they call that? Some of the stick shifts have where it won't let the car roll back. It basically needs one of those systems, or some kind of like higher quality engagement feel for just putting it in drive, because that can kind of spoil the mood. It sounds like a really detailed thing, and it is, but it's somewhere where Nissan could really increase this Xtronic to true DSG and double clutch excellence. So that's somewhere where like I've really been a little definitely noted ability for improvement there. And another place is kind of unexpected. First off, you would expect it with 300 horsepower to the front wheels that the Maxima SR would have bonkers torque steer, and you would be wrong. The car, I mean, right here, so hands off, right? Purely following the line that I had initially set. I mean, that is genius. I don't know how it does it. The car has barely any torque steer in controlled sort of normal driving environments. Where it does experience like a little bit, where it does get confused, I've found in my driving is is going when you're like passing people over painted lines in those roads, like those country 2 lanes we were on before. It gets confused as it's going over the line, and it can kind of like tug a little bit. Not a big deal, but it is something to note about the way the car goes down the road. But otherwise, I mean, you really have very few downsides versus having a rear drive chassis like the Dodge Charger competitor that we mentioned. Overall, this SR is, of course, the sportiest Maxima. The SR replaces like the well-known SE trim level for 2016 in the Maxima, and comes with a base price of $37,700 plus $800 delivery charge. So all in, the only options on our test max here are like some sporty floor mats and trunk mat, and that's like $250. So like the as tested price goes to $38,500 or $38,775, I should say. And from there, the car is terrific value, great space for your money, really good sense of interior luxury. Missing a moonroof on this car, but it is optional. I'm just so pleased that the Maxima didn't come in at 45 grand, because at that point you really have to start, questioning whether you might want to move up to like, a full-fledged like 5 Series type vehicle. But as it is right now for 2016, don't trust the reviewers. Don't believe them. A lot of that stuff is sort of like legacy knowledge. Like, they know this about the Maxima, so it's really easy to like work that into the review. But in a lot of cases, all of the Maxima's core platform continues and is enhanced for 2016. And the benefit of that is that the guys at Nissan and hopefully Nismo have had plenty of time to focus on ways that they could really deliver a 4-door sports car driving experience from this core package. And assuming that this was frozen long ago, they have delivered a total miracle in making the car drive as masculinely and look as cool, be as posh inside, and overall just really deliver the 4-door sports car goods. I'm super impressed. I love the car. I don't want to give it back. Other, sort of like wish list things, perhaps. I mean, of course, I would really like an all-wheel drive version with a stick shift, but but I would also like to be thinner and much wealthier. So, but and none of that stuff is happening so far. I mean, really fun, right? So we're in second gear, locked in. The active trace control works like a dream. One thing, one wish list note I will say is that it would be a little bit nicer if some of the performance enhancements for perhaps a Maxima Nismo in the future were more mechanically based. Using like that new GTR brain, the IDM, is really, really great for active trace control, ride control, and active engine braking. But it does have some downsides because it's not, because it's not using like purely mechanical, like limited slip diff in the front or just a regular stick shift transmission. It does have to work really, really hard, and we saw that during like those drive demos where I was getting a lot of a little bit of brake fade. It's back now, but a little bit of brake fade previously, even though I hadn't done that many hard stops. And what I think that indicates is that the active trace control is working so hard that it's at applying brakes here and there, that it's sort of warming up the brakes and doing that on its own. So combined with hard driving, if you have the car sort of braking itself and tailoring its dynamics, in that way, you can end up with it just works them a lot harder. So share the love, how about a limited slip diff? Let me help with the shifting. I would love to help. So, but overall, the Maxima Nismo is superb and is a must-drive vehicle for 2016. Hey, we'll see you guys soon. This is Tom Burkhart for car-revs.